Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. As you can see, I'm in a bit of a different setup today. I'm actually in my bedroom. I just wanted to try something different. I feel like the back of my bed is like quite aesthetically pleasing, so I just wanted to try this and see what I thought of a different layout. Anyway, as you can see by the title, today I am going to be reviewing the Revolution Pro or glistens palette. This is what it looks like inside. I mean, it's absolutely, I don't know why I'm ducking my head. It's absolutely gorgeous. As you can see, there's some really pretty shades in here, so I just wanted to have a play around with it and give you guys my thoughts and whether I feel like it's worth spending the money on and all of that good stuff. So this palette is £12, I'm pretty sure, which I guess for Revolution is kind of quite expensive, but then it is Revolution Pro, so it's like, you know, Pro, it's like the better range if you like. This definitely gives me like Huda Beauty vibes. I don't actually own a Huda Beauty palette, although I really want the new Mercury Retrograde one because it looks really pretty. But yeah, it's kind of like similar to Huda Beauty with like the pressed glitters, and like the packaging looks similar, and it has a base in it as well, which I'm gonna try. So I'm gonna try I'm gonna do like use my regular like base that I would use for eyeshadows on one eye, and then use the one in the palette on the other to see if it makes a difference, see if it works better, doesn't work as well. I have no idea what I'm gonna do, so I'm probably gonna do one eye off camera and then come back, and then we'll do one together, and I'll use the base from the palette on the eye that I'm gonna do on camera, obviously, because that makes sense. So yeah, I'm gonna go and figure out what exactly I'm gonna do, and then I will be back to show you. So this is the look that I managed to create. I'm not gonna lie, I found it quite difficult to create a look. Just grab the palette. So just as a reminder, this is the colour story. So my issue with this is, like, see this colour here, this is a beautiful colour, but like there's no colour to blend it out with really, because this is a shimmer. It's like the same if I wanted to use this green, there's nothing really to blend it out with. I mean, I could have dipped into another palette, but the whole point is that I'm obviously reviewing this palette, so I didn't want to use another palette. So yeah, that was a negative for me. I feel like the colours are really nice, but there's like for these types of colours, there's like nothing really to blend them out with. So for the look, I used this shade on the outer corner, this shade on the inner crease, this shade to blend out the outer corner. I used this shade mixed with this shade to blend out my inner crease, just because, as I said, there was no lighter blue, so I just kind of had to mix this with a lighter colour to create a lighter blue. It kind of worked, but it's not the best blend I've ever done in my life. And then I used this shade on the lid because all of the colours are glitters, well, except this is a shimmer, but this is the only shimmer, all the rest are pressed glitters. And then I used this shade on the inner corner because, as I say, all of the shades apart from this one are glitters, and I didn't feel like using this on the inner corner, so I used this instead. The glitters are okay, they're not the easiest to work with. I just use them on top of the base I used to cut the crease. I actually used this to cut the crease. I just wanted to try it. So I just used the glitters on top of it. They were okay. There was quite a bit of fallout like I expected. I probably should have used a glitter glue, but hey ho, I wanted to try it and see what it was like. So they're my initial thoughts on the palette. I'll give my overalls at the end, but yeah, I just wanted to point out those few facts while I was trying out the palette. This look on this eye, and I'm going to use the base from the palette. We'll see how we get on. And yeah, I'm just going to get started. So I'm going to take the base from the palette and just start putting it on the eye. I get what they've tried to do with putting the base in the palette. Like, obviously it's kind of like, oh, it's all in the palette, so you've got everything you need, which, you know, is a good idea. But I feel like you really have to like dig into the pan to get like any sort of payoff, which, you know, isn't the worst thing in the world, but it's just something to kind of note if you were wanting to use this as a base. It feels quite thick on the lid, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I feel like when you're trying to blend it out, it's kind of like pulling on your eye a little bit more just because of how thick it is. But yeah, so we've got that on the lid. And then I'm just using this eBay brush and going in with the shade Blinked, which is this very dark burgundy purple colour. Colour payoff initially is pretty decent on this colour, to be fair. What I found quite difficult was blending it out. I don't know if it's just because of how dark it is, and I know that purples can be difficult in general, but yeah. I'm kind of using like dragging and pattern motions. I do feel like this shade is a little bit patchy, like it's kind of clung here. I don't know if you can tell, like here's a bit patchy, like it's kind of all the pigments like sticking where I placed it, which is a bit annoying, I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, I've got that packed on. So then I am going to take this shade called Hover, which is like a bluey purple shade. It's really, really pretty. This one, straight off the bat, is not as pigmented as the previous shade. I feel like I have to go in more with this shade, but it is a nice colour. It feels more firmly pressed than the previous shade as well. Maybe that's why the payoff isn't quite as strong on like first application. So yeah, just doing that, and then I'm gonna take, oh again, sorry, that was an eBay brush, and then I'm gonna take my Morphe M506, which is just everything in this world, and I'm gonna use that just to kind of buff out the edges slightly. I know this is looking really messy at the minute, but I mean, my blend isn't that great, I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, I did struggle to blend this palette, as I mentioned, but it does look a bit better than this in the end. So I feel like with eyeshadow, you've just got to kind of like trust the process. Like a lot of the times when I'm doing eyeshadow, I'll be kind of like, oh my god, like this is not looking great, and then it kind of all comes together in the end. So yeah, just roughly blending out that edge, and then I'm gonna take, if I can find it, this Sosu X Kaylee SKO3 brush, which is like really small, really fluffy, and I'm just gonna use that to fluff out the edges of this blue shade. I really hope you can like see what I'm doing. I know that the lighting is not the best, and again, I can only apologize for that. I'm still trying to figure this like whole YouTube setup out. Experimenting. So now I'm gonna go in with this shade called Clink, and I'm gonna use that to blend out the dark, really dark, like purple shade. I kind of wish I'd tried to do a different look now, because I feel like this look may not be doing the palette justice, just because, as I say, I struggle to blend it, so I feel like it looks a bit messy, but hey ho, you know, I wanted to give a review on the palette, I wanted to try it out, and this is like a look that I wanted to do, so I wanted to see, you know, how it would work. Don't get me wrong, it's not horrendous, because if I really hated it, I would have just wiped it off and been like, no, I'm gonna start again. So it's not horrendous at all. I just did struggle a bit to blend it, but the colours are really nice. Really autumnal colours, I feel. And then with that Kaylee SK3 brush, I'm gonna mix this shade and, oh my god, I'm really bad at showing this shade, to blend out the bluey purple. And then with another eBay brush, I'm gonna take this shade called Glitch, and I'm just gonna use that to further blend out this outer edge. And then I'm going back in with the first brush and back in with the first shade, just to re-intensify what's already there. I apologise for like not looking straight on, it's just I'm looking down at my mirror, because trying to use my phone as a mirror, it's not really working very well, so yeah, I apologise. And then just going back in with the M506, gonna pick up a little bit of that red wine shade called Clink, just to blend that out. I think think maybe next time I need to try maybe a bit more of a simplistic look, maybe using like less colours, see how that works out. I definitely do want to play around with this palette more, like, don't get me wrong, because there's some brown tones in here, and there's other glitter shades I need to try. And again, I'm going back in with this eBay brush and the shade Hover, which is the blue, just to again re-intensify. And then the SK03, bit of Hover, bit of Covered. Just to blend that out. So that's how we're looking. I'm just gonna blend it out a bit more. I literally can't help myself. I know it's looking a bit messy, and I feel like it's looking a lot more like patchy on camera. It's really not that bad in person. So I am just going to go off camera, throw on my cut crease, because that takes me forever, especially because I've got to try and match it to this one, and then I'll be back to put on the lid shades. So I'm back, cut creases on. I've just applied the base shade to obviously cut the crease. Well, first I used a wet wipe because that's always my technique, because I always find if I go in with any sort of concealer or base to cut the crease straight away, it mixes with the eyeshadows and then it'd be like a weird blue burgundy colour, and you know, I want it to be a base, I want it to be like an opaque light colour, I don't want it to mix with the shadows I've already used, so that is what I do. And then I'm just using one of these double-ended sponge brushes because I feel like these are the best for shimmers and glitters because they just seem to stick to the brush really well. And I am going in with this shade here called Spangled, which is a really beautiful like aqua teal colour. I'm just going to apply it to the lid. I do definitely think that when I next use these glitters, I'm gonna try and use like a glitter glue and see if that makes any difference than just using like a base, with it being obviously a pressed glitter. You know, it is chunky, so I definitely want to try that and see what that's like. But this is such a pretty colour, like, oh my god, it's so nice. So yeah, I feel like pressed glitters are tricky like to get right, and I definitely don't think that this is bad. Like, it's working, as you can see, it's absolutely gorgeous. I do feel like you have to put in a bit of effort with it, but I think it is, I would say it's easier than using just like a loose glitter, definitely. I think there's less fallout than with a loose glitter, because if I was using a loose glitter right now, it would literally be everywhere, like absolutely everywhere. So I definitely do think there is less fallout. But yeah, and then I am going in with this little Real Techniques brush. Don't actually, not even showing you it. The accent brush is called, and I always use this to do my inner corner highlight. So I'm gonna grab a bit of the base. And then I'm gonna go in with this shade called Banner for my inner corner. Oh my god, oh my god. Okay, this one is really messy in the pan. Like, it's so loosely pressed. You're in, like, when you dip in, it goes everywhere. So you really need to be careful with this one because it actually goes everywhere. I mean, I would have rather have just used a shimmer on the inner corner, but there isn't really any shimmer options in this palette. And as I said, and as I've kept saying, I just wanted to use this palette, so here we are. But if I was to do this look and I wasn't just doing a review on this palette, I would have like used a highlighter on the inner corner, or I would have gone in with a different palette and used a different colour on the inner corner. But I guess it's quite cool, it's different, isn't it, using a glitter on the inner corner. So yeah, there's the two eyes. I'm just gonna take the first brush that we used with the first shade. I'm just gonna grab a little bit more of it. I'm just gonna really gently like go over the edges. So there's the eyes complete. I'm gonna go off camera and put on lashes and do the rest of my makeup, and then I'll come back to do the lower lash line and to then give my final thoughts on the palette. So this is the finished look. I just did my under eyes off camera just because literally all I did was run the shade Clink, which was the burgundy shade, under my eyes. I'm not even sure if you can really see it because of how bad the lighting is, and again I really do apologise. I just really wanted to film this video. I think it shows off the glitter well anyway. So this is the finished look. To be fair, I'm actually pretty pleased with how it turned out. I mean, excuse the fact that this cut crease is like 10 times higher than this one. I've not done a really good job there, have I? But anyway, this is the finished look. I'll just give you a quick rundown of the products I used on my face. So for foundation, I used the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow in the shade 201 Classic Ivory. It's a nice foundation. I hadn't used it in a while, so I wanted to try it again. For concealer, I used the e.l.f. 16 Hour Camo Concealer in the shade Fair Rose. Rimmel True... I was just about to butcher the name of my setting powder. Rimmel Stay Matte Setting Powder, as always. Revolution Bronzer Reloaded in Holiday Romance. Love this bronzer. It's so pretty, so good for pale skin. Revolution Pro Skin Finish in Opalescent. Make Me Up Misser got me onto this. If you don't know who she is, how do you not know who she is? She's absolutely incredible. She has influenced many, many, many things I have bought, this being one of them, and it's gorgeous. It just makes your skin look really healthy and glowy. For blush, I used Benefit California. Absolutely incredible. Don't really need to say any more. Highlighter is Revolution Highlighter Reloaded in the shade Set the Tone, which is just basically white, but it's really, really pretty. For my lip, I used this PS High Pigment Satin Lip Gloss. Has it got a shade? I don't think... Has it even got a colour? I can't see a shade name. But yeah, it's this colour. It's just like a beige nude colour. Lashes are eBay lashes, Duo lash glue to apply them, and Benefit Roller Lash as my mascara. So yeah, overall thoughts on the palette. It is a really pretty palette, really pretty colours. The glitters are beautiful. Yeah, I really do like the colour story. As I was mentioning when I had just done this eye, I've already mentioned about the fact that with the darker colours, camera's moving, with the darker colours like the blue and the burgundy, I felt like there wasn't really any shades. Oh no, it wasn't the burgundy, the blue and the like dark green colour. I felt like there wasn't really any shades that you could blend them out with, which I think is a downside, because it's kind of like I don't really know how I would use them as like a full look. I think I'd have to dip into other palettes to blend them out, which obviously, you know, most people own more than one palette, so it's fine. But like, if you're just wanting to take one palette away with you to be able to do like a full look, I mean, this does have like a couple of brown shades in it, so you could just take that palette, but it's like if you wanted to use green or the blue, you're going to struggle to blend it out without having another palette to hand. So yeah, that's one of my downsides to it. Another one is I think there should have been more shimmers in it. Like, excuse my throat, there's only like one shimmer, which is like a bluey colour similar to this glitter colour, but apart from that, the rest of them are the glitters, which are really pretty, but I feel like there should be more shimmer colours. I feel like there should be one that you could use as an inner corner highlight and on the brow bone, and I just feel like there should be more shimmers, because these glitter colours are really pretty, but you know, for people who maybe, I don't know, struggle to use them, don't really like them that much. I mean, you know, obviously if you don't really like them that much or you struggle to use them, maybe you shouldn't buy the palette, because obviously it does have loads of them in it. But I just feel like, from my personal opinion, there should have been a couple of more just like shimmer shades. That's me just being like really nitpicky. But yeah, that's my opinion. So yeah, I do like the palette. I do need to play it with it more. Struggled to blend the deepest shade that I used, but that's probably just because it's a really dark purple and purples are really hard to work with, but I did get a really nice look from it in the end. Would I recommend to buy it? I feel like if you like these colours, yes. And if you like glitters, then yes, because as I say, I was just doing a review of this palette, but like the next time I use it, I will probably use it in conjunction with another palette to get like a full look. So I don't mind doing that, because I often dip into a few palettes. I very rarely just use one palette, if I'm being honest. So yeah, I would recommend this palette. I feel like it is a nice palette for, you know, £12. I feel like Revolution have done a really good job. In terms of the eye base, I guess that's the only thing I haven't addressed. I can't notice that much of a difference, to be honest. I feel like it did a pretty good job in blending the eyeshadows out. I do prefer my normal base just because it's not as thick. I find it a bit easier to work with, but I definitely do feel like that base worked really well with the shadows, so I think it is good that it's in the palette. I guess you just have to be careful with the pressed glitters, because they might end up getting stuck in the base and then it'll be a bit of a messy situation. But yeah, I do feel like it worked. It was really good. So yeah, that is my overall thoughts. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. This is the final look. I apologise for the lighting. I'm just going to come closer so you can see it a bit better. So yeah, I really hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe if you aren't already subscribed, and I shall see you in my next video. Thank you.